let's get into today's draft. Who needs to show us something at the quarterback position? Chris, I have a trivia question for you. Very simple. Which quarterback scored the most fantasy points last season?
Man, I mean, this is not my answer. I want to say Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think that's right. I'm going to go with Josh Allen here. My boy Blue. That's my boy. I figured because he's got those rushing touchdowns to go along with it, some rushing yards and things like that Rodgers is not going to have, and he had more passing yards as well. So, all right, that's good. I like that. Let's see. My first pick, I'm going to go with Cam Newton. I am. I think that's the number one guy. I'm thinking right now we'll see him week 1.
Will he even get a chance to show us something?
I know. That's right. His show me something might start right now this week, preseason game number 2. Forget the regular season. Yeah, show me something right now to make the New England fan base back off a little bit off of the Mac Jones thing and just give everybody confidence that you can move the ball, move the offense, do the right things, all those type of things through the pass game and everything like that. It's a huge year for Cam Newton. I mean, come on, I'm not breaking news here. We know he's got to play well if he wants to continue to be a starter somewhere else in the NFL and continue his career that way.
Yeah, this is year number 11 for him. He's done one-year contracts each of the last 2 seasons with New England. I'm going to stay in that same division because I'm going to go with a guy who's just getting started.
I know.
And look, Dolphins fans, they get so upset when we point out the obvious. Well, if you're a Dolphins fan, you've got blinders on right now. You're not paying attention to the guy that owner Stephen Ross wanted to trade up and get at number 1 and was unable to do so in Joe Burrow. You're not looking there. And you're definitely not looking out the other eye at the guy that you didn't take at 5, that the Chargers took at 6 in Justin Herbert.
Right.
You're focused on Tua, and you're trying to prop up in your own mind the idea that Tua is going to become Burrow and Herbert. This is the chance. This is the time, especially because Tua came out and admitted he didn't know the offense well enough last year, and that's why he got removed from a couple of games. We like Tua. We're rooting for Tua, but we're not going to be blind about what's happening here. He clearly wasn't in the same class when he played last year of Burrow and Herbert. He's got to show us this year that he is. Otherwise, he will be the which doesn't belong in why of Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, and Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I agreed with you. I mean, yeah, he doesn't play well this year, then, Deshaun Watson rumors and stuff will come out again next year, and they're going to look to make a move. I still don't think that's dead right now. I don't. I think if Nick Caserio called the Dolphins and said, let's make a deal and made it favorable, I think the Dolphins would do it. I don't know that, but you and I have heard enough to know from people that we know that this was a real thing in the offseason. So that tells you that there was at least a little bit of a concern there. So it is a big year for Tua, no doubt about it. All right, my next guy, I'm going to go with Sam Darnold. It's time. Not that he has to sit here and set records this year or win a Super Bowl or be the MVP of football, but show that he was worthy of being that top 10 pick. He finally has a support system around him here. The Jets, I always took up for him. You know that. He was surrounded by crap. So at times he smelled like crap too. But here in Carolina, he's got receivers, a running back. They've kind of put together a pretty good young offensive line. Like, we should see something this year to go, that's why they took him in the top 10 in New York. And I hope that happens. I'm rooting for him. It was a tough go up here in New York for him. So Sam Darnold need to see something.
The Andy Dufresne of the National Football League, Sam Darnold, swimming through 500 yards of foul-smelling, etc.
I saw him
getting out of Shawshank.
I saw him at a restaurant a few weeks ago. Can you
Tim
believe
Robbins
that?
Or Andy Dufresne?
Well, the same guy for as far as I'm concerned, but Tim Robbins. Yes, I couldn't believe it. My wife was like, there is a big actor sitting behind you. And, I didn't want to look and be that guy. And her clue was literally like, he swam through crap. And then I was like, are you kidding me? And that's how I knew.
Well, we can tell that she's married to you.
Yes. He's
tall.
Where
trivia, second phase trivia question, not that it matters. Where did Andy Dufresne go when he got out of Shawshank?
Oh, man. Something in Mexico, something there, but I can't call it. What is it?
Zihuatanejo, baby. Zihuatanejo.
I wouldn't have got that one.
All right, next one for me, and this is repetitive. we hit on it last hour, but it's very real. Daniel Jones, no excuses tour 2021. You've got the weapons. Saquon Barkley's back. There's urgency there. The Giants didn't deliberately pick up a second first-round pick next year, but they have one now. Great ammunition to trade for a veteran or trade up to get a starting quarterback who would replace Daniel Jones. So we really need to see something from him. The Giants really need to see something from him, or there could be a major change at the quarterback position for the Giants in 2022, Chris.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, yes, it's a big year. And again, I don't know if it means he has to go to the playoffs, but we got to see good, consistent play. Him take advantage of some more big plays, not make the mistakes we said. You're right. There's definitely a less of an excuse this year than any of the other years. There's certainly more of a support system there to be had in New York. All right, man, there's some good ones here left on the board. I think I got to go to Detroit with Jared Goff. I mean, for me, I almost look at it a little bit like the Cam Newton thing. Of course, I'm not in love with Jared Goff's abilities and skills and things like that. And, of course, McVay got a lot of the praise for his success and all those things. I'm sure that bothers Jared Goff. And, of course, the way the trade went down. Well, here's your chance. Show us that you were the real deal. You're our starting quarterback. Because if it's an underwhelming year, he will be relegated to backup quarterbackville, I would think. So this is a big year for him to kind of establish a future as a quarterback in the NFL as a starter.
He made a comment recently that the outside expectations that are very low for the Lions don't bother him, and that bothered me. Like, you use that as motivation. Don't ignore it. Well, we don't pay attention to the outside expectations. Use that as your fuel. Look, he's making a transition from one of the platinum franchises in the NFL to a team that has been mired in dysfunction for most of the last 60 years. It's possible he's starting to realize it. Even though with a different head coach and a different GM and a different vibe, you can't clean out the culture in just one cycle.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. We're going to learn a lot this year, and you could almost tie Goff and Stafford together because we're going to find out
You're right.
whether at least the last decade was the Lions or was it Stafford. And a lot of it's going to depend on what Goff does in Detroit and what Stafford does with the Rams. And I thought about making Stafford part of it, but I would tie him to Goff.
Yeah.
Because I really do think we're going to be paying attention to what both guys do and what it says about their organizations. So last one for me, I'm going to go Carson Wentz, guy who's currently injured and who is feeling that urgency to get on the field. He had the disastrous season last year. After he was so good in 2019, 5-7 down the stretch they were, entering the final 4 games. Everybody else was injured. He wasn't, and he lifted them to the playoffs.
Right.
It all fell apart last year. The Colts believe in him. He's got to be patient, get himself healthy, but he's really got to show us that he's the guy that he looked on track to be 2017 and 2018 pre-injury, and also some of 2019, not the guy who had it all fall apart last year.
Yeah, without question. I mean, they made a big trade for him. They got a team that I think we both agree is in that kind of Super Bowl window. And yeah, I've been a defender of him because it's, like the last 2 years, there's nothing there in Philadelphia to make you think he can be real successful. So we'll see where it goes. It's a huge year, and I would think, I don't know, Mike, the microscope's probably on him as much as any quarterback in football this year. I think him, Cam Newton, Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, man, people are really going to, pick these guys apart in their play on a week-to-week basis.
Because there are so many great young quarterbacks coming into the NFL every year now, there is less patience than ever with a veteran guy because now you can release the bird in the hand. And I think we're going to see more teams do that sooner rather than later because it's not as big of a risk. If you scout, and look, the teams have learned how to scout properly. They've learned how to coach up, take a guy, hey, we'll just do what he did in college. This is why we liked him.
Yeah.
We're going to have him do the same things here. It's not that complicated, but it just took decades for the NFL to figure it out.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.